Hey there.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Hello,
Hello,
Street
hello.
Smart Investors. Belinda and I coming to you live. Now, might be listening to us on the podcast. You might be listening to us in the Australian property chat, but also live in our group. Now, today we're going to be talking about how to pay down debt, how to reduce your debt fast. Is that right?
Yeah, the fastest way to pay off debt.
Great. I'm going to talk
That
about
was
some
the
great
topic.
strategies. But I think, especially at the moment, with interest rates the way they are, what's been happening, this could be some good gold for you. But what I'd like to do before then is talk about the elephant in the room.
Elephant in the room.
Yes, well, the
Are we
elephant that
talking
actually,
about America?
yes, of course, because we've all been watching with bated breath. And as everyone knows, Trump won the election.
Yep.
And I want to give you my two thoughts about it. I'm not a political commentator, but I like talking about the economy and about money, right?
Well, absolutely. Because I know that I've spoken to people who won't actually, well, there was two sides of the coin. I could see people that were really against Trump, but then I've seen other people that are like, Belinda, I'm buying a property when Trump gets in. So
Yeah,
there's
yep.
been a lot of mixed reactions. I'm Switzerland. I'm on the fence, but George.
Yeah, look, I think long term, really long term, it doesn't actually make a difference if the Democrats or Republicans win, because most of the basic stuff's going to be the same. But in the short term, there are some things that are going to be different. Now, I want to talk about predicting the election because the media, once again, we're saying that it's a really close race, that Harris is in front. And usually, what happens, because this is interesting, if you look behind the scenes, and this is what I was talking about, is normally people that are Trump voters, a lot of them are secret Trump voters. So if the polls say he's at 50%, he's usually higher because a lot of people don't want to admit it in public.
Yeah, right.
But also, what I like to do is I don't like to look at the media for my information. I look at what the bookies do because the bookies, they really know their stuff. And the bookies were saying Trump's going to win,
Yeah,
which
right.
gave me, and usually the bookies are right because they literally get paid to get it right. If you know what I'm saying, where the
Yeah,
media get paid to get eyeballs, not to get it right. Slightly
that's
different thing. Now, since Trump got elected, the Australian stock market went up.
did it really? I was going to ask about that.
Bitcoin's gone up, it's gone crazy. Since April, gold has gone up as well.
There's
So one thing about Trump is people have confidence in him and the economy. Well, he's a billionaire, and the Republicans are always, fiscally, I suppose, more responsible than Democrats. Democrats wanted to give away a lot of money to a lot of people. Like some
yeah.
of their policies were like, I don't know where they're going to get the money. Now, but not only that, but Trump,
Well, Trump comes from that. He's a businessman. He helped build New York. He doesn't come from that a long line of just being a politician his whole life. He's
yes.
more of a businessman. So
The thing is though, now that Trump's won, the Republicans also hold Congress. So
um,
Congress is what approves the policies. So because you've got a Republican president and a Republican Congress, that gives them extra power. Because if Harris won, she's going to have to get all her bills, all her new shiny bills through Congress, and Congress were going to block it because they're mainly Republican.
yeah,
But
right.
because there's a majority of Republicans in Congress, it's going to be a lot easier for Trump to actually do what he wants to do. So he's going to have a lot of power to do a
Mm.
lot of stuff that he wants to do. Hopefully, he uses it for good, and hopefully, he does things that are good. Time will
Yeah,
tell.
yeah,
Now,
well, that's it.
one thing about Trump, if he wants to follow through on all his policies, I'd imagine he might start talking to the Fed to start printing money. This
Mm.
could be a prediction because, and I think, last time Trump was in, he printed money like crazy.
Yeah, right.
Like they were printing money like crazy. And
Yeah.
what happens when you print money is it inflates things. There's a little thing we call inflation. The inflation
Yes.
we've got was sort of a hangover from the Trump days of all the stuff because of the COVID and all the central banks printing money. So if the US starts printing money, that's going to create more inflation, which is going to start pushing stock market and real estate up even more.
Yeah, right.
And it's interesting that gold's gone up, that people are starting to invest in gold now and things like silver and things like that. So
Yeah.
that's what's happening on a world stage. Now, Trump wants to get a lot of tariffs in place and really play this tariff war with China and other countries. And that should be interesting how it plays off. So it's interesting. But if you look at the Australian dollar's gone down compared to the American dollar because now they've got a strong leader in place. And I prefer a strong Australian dollar personally. Because what happens when the Australian dollar goes down, we have cheaper exports, but our imports are more expensive. So things that we buy cost more money. So the dollar going down in value actually increases inflation in Australia. Now, even though our inflation is around 2%, the RBA have decided not to drop the rate on Melbourne Cup. Melbourne Cup was actually my birthday and my wedding anniversary as well. So
Wedding anniversary, Melbourne Cup, and the Reserve Bank giving out their answers.
You know what happened, Belinda?
What?
So, my birthday's on the 5th of November.
Yes.
So what happened is I called the Melbourne Cup committee and said, look, can you have the Melbourne Cup around the 5th of November so that way I won't forget it? And they said, sure, George, we'll do it. And then when I was going to marry Christina, I said, Christina, let's get married on the 5th of November. Then I won't forget our wedding anniversary ever again. And now I'm set. So the Melbourne Cup and Christina have moved in line and it's all there. Now I was going to move Christmas, New Year's and Australia Day to the 5th of November. We're set. One big party for a whole month.
Great stuff. Awesome.
Okay, so now we finished talking about politics.
So just to round up that conversation, what do you think is going to be like for Australia and property and things like that?
So Trump being in place, what's going to happen is he's probably going to print money, but the economy is going to move up. And when the economy goes up, that creates a little bit of inflation.
Mm-hmm.
Our inflation has been the lowest it's been for the last 3 years at the moment.
Yeah, right.
The Reserve Bank should have reduced rates, but they didn't.
Yeah.
They're holding off. And they're even saying now they may hold off to 2026.
Wow.
Right? But I never believe anything the Reserve Bank
I heard
says.
something about February 24, 25.
Yeah, look, we don't know. We don't know. The government is actually going to be, we're going to have an election next year.
Yes.
And the government is going to get the RBA in a headlock and say, reduce these rates before the election because they can't afford, luckily they've scrapped the whole trying to get rid of negative gearing, which is great. So good news for everyone.
Yeah. We got rid of that one off the table.
They've spent all that. Once
out
again,
you go. There we go.
Doing this since the 90s. They've been doing this since the 90s. Yeah. And so luckily they scrapped that again because they realize it's a supply problem, not an investor problem.
Correct.
Literally, that would have done the opposite, would have slowed down how many houses we get. So there you go.
Yeah, exactly.
So it looks like at the moment, there's no rate drops in the near future, but they may surprise us. It all depends on what's happening. So the reason the RBA aren't dropping the rates is because the government, the national government and the state governments have been doing a lot of infrastructure. They're spending more money on infrastructure than they've ever done in their history. This is the biggest year we've spent ever in the last 200 years.
Wow.
And all that requires a lot of jobs. So they're hiring a lot of people and paying a lot of good money out there. So there's lots of people making lots of money. And when people make lots of money, they spend. And that's all they're considering. So the RBA is blaming the government for hiring too many people and spending too much money. And that's why they say they can't drop the rate. And that's why they're saying the inflation's too high.
Okay, good to know.
And what does that mean? Well, infrastructure, would they spend money on infrastructure? That's an investment in Australia. And there's great dividends that happen with productivity, a better lifestyle, and a better country. So it's all going to happen in a good way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk about what we're talking about.
Our topic tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk
about the fastest way to pay off debt.
Yeah. Okay. So
good topic.
Yeah, exactly. I want to talk about the fast way to pay off debt. And for our members, if you've got any ideas or questions or answers, please type in the chat and Belinda will get onto those. But I think we've got to look at things as two things, right? There's income and there's expenses, right? Income is the money you make and expenses is the money you spend. So to pay off your debt, two things you can do. One, reduce your expenses. Two, increase your income. Now,
Yeah.
I know it's self-evident, but I think it's important to mention that because, so how do you reduce your expenses? Let's talk about reducing expenses for one. One is invisible costs. In today's day, it's very easy to go on your iPhone and get an app, and then you have to pay for it every month and you don't even use it anymore. So a lot of subscriptions, maybe you've got Netflix, you've got Stan, Amazon, you're paying all this money out. So there's a lot of hidden expenses, and that's why a lot of companies have gone through this whole subscription way of doing things. So that's one thing we can do.
Yeah.
Then another way to reduce expenses is to cut down on things that you don't really need, right? Maybe you don't need a new gold watch.
Haha. That's
right.
right. You don't
Buying
need
a
that.
smart, hey?
Maybe not. You don't need that jet ski.
Yeah, exactly. And we had Jo on, a friend of mine from school. She actually budgets and saves. A really good Sherp to watch if you haven't seen it. And what she does, she buys her food in bulk and preps it all. And I thought she was actually into bodybuilding or something because I saw her prepping all this food, but it's because she saved so much money. And her average meal is like $5.60. Like
Wow.
crazy. And she eats, goulash and beef stroganoff and beautiful things like that. But there's also what you can do is you get those meal services, which are really cheap as well.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Now, I'm not one to talk.
it's almost like where you go through a bit of an overhaul of all your spending and you kind of work out, what's necessary and what's possibly not necessary.
Yeah. And when you're buying a big item, you buy it when there's the end of financial year sale or Boxing Day, right? If you're going to buy a fridge or something like that. And usually on bigger items, you can get really good deals. And I love getting good deals. Now, the thing is, we've got to talk about, when you're starting off in your journey, reducing expenses is important. Once you got passive income, it's not important because that's the whole point of having the passive income. Because it's funny, some people work really hard and they get all this money, they get all this passive income, they're still saving every cent. And that's not the goal. Well, could be for you, but not for me because, I went out the other night to Penfolds and had a degustation dinner and spent quite a bit of money. But that's because I've got the money now. But when I started out, I was used to, I used to get 2-minute noodles and buy rice and do dishes at home and things like that. I used to go to Pizza Hut, all you can eat. Man, I'd eat a lot of food there at Pizza Hut. It was like $9 all you can eat. And I remember I'd rock up.
Mate, you're showing your age because Pizza Hut's been closed in South Australia for a while.
Yes, I know. But what I'm saying is, the all you can eat buffets, I used to hit those hard because, I was a young guy with a big appetite and I needed to eat. And there's no way I could afford to feed myself. I just used to eat so much.
Yeah.
You actually knew me in those days, Belinda. Remember, I'd eat a roast chicken for lunch.
You could eat a roast chicken and
a whole roast chicken for lunch. Like, yeah, I couldn't do that now.
Loaf of bread and a chicken. I could sit there and I was full watching you. All right. So someone just wrote in the comment, delayed gratification in regards to.
Delayed gratification. So I delayed my gratification for many years because I wanted to get to that passive income quicker. And I pushed hard and I did it. And then the funny thing is, passive income is one of those snowballing effects. So once you get there, then each year your passive income goes up and it does it on its own. See, passive income is so powerful, but just getting there. So you want to get to that level. And then once you're there, you can actually start not saving as much. Increase your income. Well, if you got high value skills, see if you can increase your income. You can, these days, a lot of people can work from home doing things. Obviously, there's a thing called a side hustle. And some people sell digital products online. They create a side hustle.
Hey, we had a member that advertised on her car.
Yes.
She did advertising on the side of her car, which brought in her extra cash flow, which got her income up to get a loan.
She actually couldn't get a buying capacity. And she worked really hard. What a lovely lady. And she did it. But she also rented out a room in her house. And had a foster child. And all those things put together got her income high enough to get a property. And talk about doing whatever it takes.
Yeah, I'm not
Side
saying
hustle.
that's the path you should go down, but
No.
what we're trying to do is think out the box.
But Airbnb, a lot of people have got granny flats or things like that, Airbnb. Or if you've got a big yard and you're in an expensive area, you can get a granny flat and then you're going to get good rent for that because they're pretty cheap. You're going to get those portables in your backyard.
Yep.
Airbnb is a really good one, Uber, things like that. But let's talk about cutting down your debt because that's the real thing that we want to do. And I want to talk about what the rich spend their money on and what the poor spend their money on and get a bit of an idea on what we're doing. So I'm going to share my screen.
Perfect.
And by the way, I'm actually off to America on Monday morning, which is pretty exciting. I'm going to a workshop, a conference that's going to help me improve my coaching skills, which is pretty good.
Yay.
Always need that.
Oh, look, absolutely.
But then guess what I'm doing after that?
Then you're going to Vegas.
No, I'm going to Texas.
You're going to Texas.
Going to Texas.
Fantastic.
Okay, do you want to know why?
Why are you going to Texas?
Okay, so what happened was Christina was supposed to come with me and she can't come for certain reasons.
Yep.
So I had to cancel a flight and I was like feeling a bit sad that I'm flying all the way to America on my own. So I rang Adam and I said, Adam, guess what? You're going to be my +1. You're coming with me, right? He was like, oh, I don't know if I've got the time. I said, Adam, you have to come. Okay, we're going to go. And then he found out that Mike Tyson's fighting in Dallas. He's doing a comeback. So we've organized amazing seats and we're going to Dallas for a little boys trip. And so my conference with my wife has turned into a conference and then a boys trip afterwards. So I'm pretty wrapped, to be honest with you.
There you go. Absolutely.
Because I haven't been on a boys trip for a while. So I'm very excited. And I'm actually going to reach out to Robert Kiyosaki. And if I've got time, I'm going to go down to Arizona and hang out with him for a day as well.
Fantastic.
If our lives align.
If the thing,
that's right. That's right. Because
100%.
it's, I mean, if I had longer notice, it'd be easy, but I'm going to give him literally a week's notice. So I know he's a very busy man, but I'm going to have a look and see if we can catch up and maybe do a bit of training together, have a bit of chat, catch up for lunch and stuff like that. So the poor middle class. Okay, the poor middle class.
Make sure you send photos, George. That's what.
Of Mike Tyson.
Or anything. Where are you going? Robert
I don't know,
Kiyosaki.
it's going to be like The Hangover, you know. It's not a good party until someone loses a tooth, isn't it? Right?
Or you come home with a monkey.
That's right. So the poor middle class, their income is their job, their liabilities is their car, because they normally got a lease on a car because they think it's a good way of getting a tax deduction. Their house and their mortgage is a liability. Assets, what assets? Expenses, rent, transport, food, holidays, football tickets, brand new TV, 6-pack of beer, clothes and jewelry. Now, let's talk about the rich and the financially independent. Their assets, investment properties, shares, business, education. Interesting, their education is an asset. Their liabilities is a home because your home's not a liability, even if you're rich. Their expenses, education, biographies, gym membership, seminars on investing, personal coach or mentor. And that's what the rich and financially independent spend. And I remember when I saw this back in the 90s and I twigged on and decided to spend money on education. Because the one thing I never regret, two things I never regret is spending money on education and on my health. Because those things are going to pay the biggest return you can ever get.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't get a bigger return on your money than your health and your education, because if you become more, you get more. You can't get more money than what you got until you become more, whether that's being part of a mentorship program, increasing your skills in selling, increasing your skills in your job, in what you want to do. Next, if your health improves, your life improves. And I think it's the best investment you can make because you're going to have more energy, you're going to be a nicer person. It's going to help every area of your life.
Better with relationships.
Totally.
You've got more energy to work more. You've got more capacity.
Yeah. So
You've also got a better look on life because you're looking into a healthy future.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
So I really believe that's your biggest, so the big three for me when it comes to investing, right? I would say number one, health. Number two, education. Myself, investing in myself, becoming better. You can see, I mean, even though I'm quite successful, I've still go and learn how to become better. So I'm going to spend 2 days in LA learning to become a better coach, better presenter, better business person, because that's what I want to do. Every year I learn how to become a better investor, better at property. And those things are important. And I also spend a lot of money on health. Actually, I'm actually after Dallas and Texas and Austin. I'm actually going to be flying to the Cayman Islands. Now, a lot of people think I'm going to go to the Cayman Islands to get, what do you call it? One of those tax-free havens, but it's not for that, right? I'm actually going to the Cayman Islands because I'm going to get stem cell therapy done, which I do every couple of
Awesome.
years. Yeah, it is
Awesome.
$25,000 US for
Wow.
one,
Not
for
cheap.
one. Yeah, but it's good
But
for your
hey,
health.
at the end of the day, well, look, George, you invested in properties. It wasn't for bricks and mortar. It was for the lifestyle it creates.
Totally. I'd rather sell a house and be healthy than have more houses. You can always get more houses. You can't get more health. So
That's correct.
that's why I wanted to just share what I invest my money in. And I guess once you got the passive income, I think investing in experiences is amazing
Yes.
because it's like, for example, going to Dallas and watching Mike Tyson fight. That's an experience that you're never going to forget. It's going to be
Absolutely.
awesome, especially when you're going with good mates, you know what I mean? Which is
Yeah, of
great.
course.
Um,
100%.
I think, and I prefer, for me personally, and this is just personal taste, I prefer experiences to, I don't know, gold watch, Rolexes and Lamborghinis and things like that.
Material
Yeah,
items.
but look, I mean, I've got a Porsche because driving it is an experience. Funny enough, you know what I mean? It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. It's like a souped up go-kart.
It is. I know because I give it to you when you're in Adelaide to
Mate,
drive.
it's crazy. You feel so low to the ground. I feel like I should be on a racetrack.
Yeah.
So,
So
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 can we
now we're
just
going
go?
to talk about
I was just
reducing
going to
debt.
say, sorry, George. I was just going to say, a
Yeah.
fastest way to pay off debt. We could also just deep dive with that while we're just on the topic of it.
Yeah.
Creating leverage in your life through property.
Well, yes, of course. I like that. I love that. It's beautiful, Belinda. And yes, that's the ultimate goal is at the end
We,
of the
we,
day.
we talked about skimping and saving, and that's all fine and well. But then, okay, the next level is, when you have that discipline in your life, to be able to get an investment property, which in turn is going to pay off your mortgages.
Yeah, well, look, I guess I really think the number one goal that people should have, you know, we already talked about health and education, all that. The number one goal you really want to do with property and investing in passive income is I think the number one goal should be to replace your income, right?
Yes,
So, who
that's
here, I
really the
mean,
ultimate.
type in the chat, who here, if you replace your income, would that be a good goal to have? How would that change your life? Type in the chat. I'm very curious. And Belinda, you can go to the chat and go have a
Yes,
look. We're
yes,
still
yes,
going live.
absolutely. We're still live and loud,
Yeah,
and we've got
let's
only
keep live because we're not doing anything personal. So I'm happy to go live for a bit longer. Let's keep going.
perfect. We've got more time for hobbies. Replace your income, then they've got time for hobbies, and there's 100% thumbs up. So yeah, totally agree with you, George.
Yeah,
Replacing
absolutely.
your income.
Yep. The passive income makes a big difference. You replace your income and then you're set. That was the pivotal moment in my life when I replaced my income.
Someone wrote, it'd be great to get a life.
Absolutely.
More freedom to
Absolutely.
live the life and go on more, explore business or try different adventures, more time for experiences with family, travel with the family. A lot of people agreeing there, George. So look, it's a
Yeah,
great goal to have.
it's a good goal to have. Exactly. Now, so what I want to talk about is cutting down your debt, the debt avalanche model, right? So what you want to do is you want to look at all your debt and whatever's got the highest interest rate, that's the one you want to get rid of first. And then get rid of that and then redirect payments to the next step and keep going. because the only thing you want to have a loan for really is for property. You don't want to have a lease on a car. You don't want to get a loan for a holiday. You don't want to get a loan for anything but the house you live in or the house you're investing in. That's really the key. So every single car I've bought in cash, because if you don't buy it in cash, you probably can't afford it. Now, there is a caveat here. Some of you need a vehicle for work, and that's different because without the vehicle, you can't make any money. So therefore, it is an investment because it makes you money, makes you return by using it for work. Now,
absolutely,
a lot of times you can negotiate better rates. What I do once a year is email all my loan places and tell them I've got a better deal and try to get them to reduce my rates, which is good. Right? And debt consolidation. And that's one of the best things you can do is when you get a property, when you're getting a loan, when you're getting an investment property, get extra money to pay off all your debt so you can roll it all into your actual loan, because that will be the cheapest one there is.
Yeah.
Right? And
Love
that's
that.
basically it. So now I'm going to open it for discussion.
Fantastic. Someone just wrote, yeah, being able to replace your income, it would be life-changing. I work in mental health and it's affected my own health. I would be free to support others on my own terms.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely.
and someone just, Kathy wrote, just sold my car to get all my ducks in a row. Well done.
Nice work, Kathy. Excellent.
Excellent.
That's right. That's a smart idea. It's fascinating though now, stock market's gone up, Bitcoin's gone up. So if you feel a Bitcoin and stock market, it's really good.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, Kimberly's asked me, no, we'll keep the live going, Kimberly. This is going to be a full session for everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's basically it. So what's happening is I'm going to be going to USA for about 2 or 3 weeks. So I don't know what's going to happen to time zone. So next SHRP, 1 or 2 things are going to happen. I might rock up, but it might be 3 a.m. And
we're going to make you do it the live 3 a.m, George.
No, I'm going to do this. I'm actually going to record a video.
Oh, okay.
Personal video to everyone that we can play. So that way it's like me, but my video doing it. And the good part is after 2 days in California, hanging out with some of the smartest people in the world. I mean, I'm hanging out with people, some of these people I'm hanging out with are actually billionaires, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, cool stuff.
I don't know if they're rocking up. I'm going to see. I don't know until I rock up. But last time I went to California, I hung out with 2 billionaires. And when we had the dinner thing, I moved my little placemat so I could sit next to one of them. Right? I'm always sneaky.
Fantastic,
right?
fantastic.
And it was really cool. And this guy was a billionaire from real estate as well.
Yeah, there you go.
A really smart guy. So I'm going to reach out to him when I go to California. So I'm going to have some good insights for everyone. So it's going to be very exciting and I'll report back.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So are we going to go into our private group?
We're already in our private group, Belinda.
Oh, sorry. So have we finished?
Let me have a look at my calendar. I think we have.
Yeah, so it's 7:30. I just wanted to make sure.
No. We just decided to stay in the private group the whole time and do the whole thing live because so normally what happens is when we got personal stuff that we talk about with our members, I like to chop off the live part so we can go in personal, but this was more of a general thing anyway.
Yep, perfect.
So I just want to say to everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Yes. And this is my happy birthday. I'm off to America, little stint.
Fantastic.
So we'll see what the time zone's like, but otherwise I will do a video. Hope everyone's well. It's going to be an exciting couple of months. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens now the election's over. And I was a bit worried. I thought if Trump loses and I go to America, there could be riots. So I'm glad.
You'll be right.
I was going to stay away from the swing states, put it that way, So there we go. No worries. Perfect. Okay, guys. Thank you. Good night.
No worries. Have a great week, guys. We'll see you next one. Have fun in USA, George.